And joining us now from Toronto, where they're in training camp, are Conaire and Taub. Welcome to the CJN Daily.
Hey, nice to be here. Hey, thanks for having us. It's great to be here.
You're on your way to Israel, so we're recording this a couple of days before your flight, but we are talking to you partly because you also were selected as the flag bearers. So what does that even entail? Do you know what you're supposed to do? Have they, what are you going to be doing?
I think when we get there, there's a little bit of per se hands-on training with the flag because it is quite big and they don't want us to fall on stage. But other than that, I think it's very straightforward. We walk it across the stage in front of Team Canada. I guess we're the face of Team Canada for the beginning of the games, so that may include some things that I'm not aware of, but I guess we'll find out.
Now, when you were last in Israel, I just watched it the other day, this interview you guys did when you were, what, 13, 14 years old, when they interviewed you for like 30 seconds in English, and then they on Israeli TV about having a bar mitzvah. Can you tell us a bit about that whole thing? What was that for? How you got involved with that show?
So they're actually doing the bar mitzvah event again this time for just the experience almost. But we had never been bar mitzvah before, so we got bar mitzvah at the Western Wall, and Israeli news and Israeli media found out about it. So they were quite interested. They pulled us aside and they started asking us what our experiences were like and how the Western Wall was, what we did, how we felt, all of the above. And it stemmed from us never being bar mitzvahed before, and they kind of found out about it.
Cool. So you were 13, 14? Because it's only 4 years ago, right?
We
were older.
14, turning 15 or something.
Right.
Like
so
that.
You were like older than the traditional year when you're supposed to do your bar mitzvah. But that was still kosher. They were okay with that?
Yeah. It was just an event for fun. Like they're running it again this time when we go to the Western Wall because the youngest people that are there is U16 again, but even for our U19 team, they're also running it for kids that may have not had a bar mitzvah before, or if they want to do it again, they're also running it, I think.
Are you going to do it again?
Yeah. If we have the option, yeah.
That's cool. So it's putting on to fill in and doing, or do you have to actually say some prayer? Like, what do you have to do?
We don't speak Hebrew, so they kind of tell us what to say in very simplistic ways, and we just repeat in the best we can what they say.
Listen, I'm sure that it's meaningful either way, right? Whether you speak it or not. So what are you bringing with you that maybe is a souvenir, a good luck charm, anything to that sort of from, I don't know, from before, from something meaningful from relatives to, I don't know, I'm fishing, but obviously they're going to do something like that, right?
I travel with my baby blanket every time I go somewhere, every time I play volleyball. The baby blanket I was given at birth, and when I was a child, that's what I travel with.
What color is it?
It's rainbow. Conaire, grab it.
My kids had a rainbow one too.
Yeah,
I literally still have it somewhere downstairs.
Perfect.
In a box.
I can't believe it's going on TV, but it's perfect. It's my colorful blanket from when I was a child.
And what about you? Are you bringing anything with you, or to put at the wall or something?
I actually don't have much. Other than some of the gear I got last time that I'm bringing this time, which was
like their swag, you mean, or like
Israel
cool.
Volleyball.
Very cool. Who gave that to you?
Last time we were there, an Israeli pro team was looking at us, and they wanted us, or they suggested that we go to boarding school over in Israel and get citizenship and play volleyball all year round. And they just handed us some gear as like, we want you guys to come here, please consider it. So this is virtually all I have from the last games, and I wear it for practice all the time.
What does it mean to you when the Israelis are scouting you? I mean, you're already going to UBC, you got signed and delivered and all that, right? But that's pretty flattering, no?
It's very flattering. It's just I'm not that time and place right now. We're going to university for our 5 years, or however long it takes to finish a degree, and then maybe pro after.
How many Jewish players are there in volleyball in your experience in the world? I mean, not talking about the other teams, but I mean, when you started and going through school, were you guys it?
Growing up, I didn't know any other Jewish people that played sport necessarily, other than my dad. It definitely just recently started when we got selected. The second year we got selected to the U19 Canadian national team. There were a few players on that team that we now know are Jewish and that were going to be on this team, but had other conflicts as well. But it definitely wasn't until we got on to a bigger scale of competition that I realized there were more Jews than just us.
And you know, what has your experience been with anti-Semitism, perhaps, being an athlete and sort of public figure when you guys were in school? How's that been to navigate?
I actually haven't had all of a rough time per se. I guess where I live in Calgary, especially, it's very welcoming and very open to the Jewish culture. And I know now a lot more Jewish people that embrace all of it, every part of Calgary, and all the Calgary citizens I know aren't against it, are all for it, are all for diversity. So I guess I haven't really experienced all of that. Yeah, I'll just add to that. I think with sport, it's allowed us to not necessarily worry about that side of it. Most of the time, dare I say all of the time, we've been surrounded with people that are very accepting and opening, and it's because we play sport. Sport allows people to be open and honest and kind and not worry about your background. So that hasn't affected us really.
Right, except the Israel-Palestine conflict is sort of frames this whole thing. And, you know, so when people say, oh, you're going to be in Israel, has that ever caused any issues for you guys, right?
Not any issues, but every time I tell somebody, they're like, oh my gosh, you're going to Israel? Is that safe? Like almost every time I say it, I'm like, yeah, it's pretty safe. I went as a 14-year-old kid. I think it's pretty safe.
So in hockey, we have Zach Hyman, but who has been your role models in pro or, you know, international competition that's Jewish in the sport?
I would have to say Josh Benstock. He was pro. He played a bunch of volleyball indoor and then switched to beach volleyball and happened to make the Olympic team for beach volleyball. I'd probably have to say the same, especially now that he's working on something he calls the Benstock angle, a bunch of mental performance and like how to level up your game and all that. I think he's definitely stepped it up even after retiring from the sport.
I want to ask you about why you decided not to go into wrestling or track the way your parents did. And what, I mean, besides the fact that you're tall and thin, but whatever, I mean, and your father was different shape. What was the decision to choose volleyball versus his, you know, or his path that he took?
There was really no decision. I guess it wasn't even in the cards because like as a kid, we did jiu-jitsu, like all the karate, some wrestling, all that kind of stuff. But even from an early age, we just didn't really love it like he did. Like we were begging our mom to take us out of karate and jiu-jitsu and all that stuff. And she's like, as soon as you get to a yellow belt, then I'll take you out if you still want. But running as well, never found a passion for running. That's an acquired taste, so that was not for us. And wrestling, same thing. I didn't like hurting people. I didn't like the aspect of the game. So we played every sport known to man until about grade 7 when we met our current best friends and we tried out for a volleyball team.
And what is it about the game that keeps you engaged so much? Why? Because it's not like they don't show it on TV, and it's not the Stanley Cup, and it's hard. It's like a different kind of sport, right?
I would say at first it was a mix of how hard and how technical you had to be, how mentally focused, and kind of the people that we got to surround ourselves with, and that kind of made the foundation for where we are now. It just made it hard to leave. You fell in love with the sport, you fell in love with the people that you were hanging around, and now it's who you are.
Totally. I think when I first started playing around grade 7, it was definitely the people that kept me involved. Much less the sport. Like I love the sport, but at the time I was just beginning. I was absolutely unbelievably bad. So it was definitely the coaches and the friends that I had made already that kept me going.
Athletes who are the Maccabiah teams have to do a lot of fundraising to get their enough to, because I know my friend's son was on the tennis team for many years. So how has that been? How did you guys do that for raising the funds? And have you made, do you still need people to come forward a little bit?
Nope, we're good. All of our funds are paid for. Mom was the spearhead on that one. Mom,
while we were doing school.
Yeah, while we were doing schoolwork and playing sport, Mom was spearheading it.
So you didn't have to do like fundraiser, bottle drives, whatever that you had to do?
No, we didn't do any of that. No.
What advice, now you're second time Maccabiah athletes, but what advice are your dad and your mom giving you, because they've done so many more international competitions, right, than you have? So can you share a little bit if they've given you any advice about how to deal with this?
A big piece of advice is go and have fun, because I know that sounds like very original or very unoriginal, and every parent says that to their kid, but it's true. When you're having fun, you play 10 times better than when you're stiff and locked up and worried about the next thing that's going to happen. So just going and having fun and playing in the moment is what's going to help you win, what's going to help you actually enjoy your time and make the experience worth it.
Yeah, they've hit it home that these events and getting to go play at events like this and be on teams like this is not normal. It's not an everyday thing. So getting to have the privilege to play on teams like this and go to events like this, you need to appreciate it. You need to take it all in, not just the volleyball, not just the sport, but you need to take in everything else going on, the experience, the tours, the people, and you need to be present the whole time. That's kind of the advice I would give to other people that my parents have given to us.
Are they coming? Anybody coming over? Yeah, everybody's coming.
My mom and my dad and my 2 sisters are all coming.
Well, that's exciting.
Yeah.
So are you staying on afterwards, or you're done?
No,
you got to
we're all
get ready.
heading home after. Yeah, we're getting ready for university when we get home.
Well, good luck in the Maccabiah. Enjoy, as your folks say. And I'm really looking forward to seeing how the blanket does. Does it have a name? Does the blanket have a name?
Nope. Just Blanky.
Awesome. Well, thanks so much for both of you for being on the CJN Daily with us.
Of course. Thanks for having us.